Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, an MP calls for Crown land to be given only to Bahamians for agriculture. More from the opposition leader on that Chinese proposal. A pilot survives a crash landing in western New Providence, and people come alive at the company's free concert on Clifford Park. Welcome to our news. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight, South Abaco Member of Parliament Edison Key says he believes government should consider giving Crown land in Andros only to Bahamians interested in agriculture. While speaking with our news recently, Key said although there haven't been that many Bahamians who have shown interest in farming, if the right incentives and encouragement is given to these potential entrepreneurs, there would be no need to have foreigners like the Chinese come in and utilize Bahamian-owned land.
The people a long-term lease on the land and don't charge them nothing, charge them $1 a year for the land. So the incentives, what you need to put in place, and make agriculture duty-free across the board. No duty on nothing to do with agriculture, whether it be equipment, fertilizer, seed, anything, absolutely no duty.
Key said North Andros, for example, has thousands upon thousands of acres of good farmland, similar to that of Abaco and Exuma, but he said there's a lack of vision. He said he started a project in South Andros when he served as the chairman of the Bahamas Agriculture and Industrial Corporation.
My intention was to complete the job, finish it, and ask the government for a couple thousand acres and lay it out, lay the roads out, lay the plots out in 5, 10-acre plots, so that the young people or whoever in South Andros, or even people here in Nassau who would like to go back home and help to develop agriculture in South Andros, because there's not too much agriculture being done in South Andros.
However, the government changed and he was out. But as speculation continues over that proposed agri-fisheries venture in Andros that involves the Chinese and would call for thousands of acres of Crown land, he said that shouldn't even be a consideration, as Bahamians should have first preference.
That's what needs to be done on every family island. The government in Abaco, the government owns hundreds of thousands of acres of land, and also in North Andros. And we need to do this in every family island. You know, once upon a time they used to sing this song, this land is your land, this land is my land, and so on. We need to follow that up. You Bahamian, this is your land, and you should have a piece of the rock.
Prime Minister Christie recently stated in Parliament that proposed venture with the Chinese will not happen under his watch. But when it comes to agriculture, he said he has advised government numerous times, but he said his advice was never accepted. One that sticks out to him is the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute.
The Prime Minister was talking about they were going to, I think it was something like $20 million they were going to pump into BAMC. Fine. But what I told him, we need to divide that money up and put agriculture in Eleuthera and Exuma and Abaco and all over. So when there's a major hurricane, it don't wipe out one spot like it did in North Andros this time.
Key said there was one time when he gave former Prime Minister Sir Lyndon Pindling advice which he heeded. He said that plan reaped tremendous benefits. But for him, he said it's not about politics, as he's disagreed with members of his own party many times. But he said it's as though this government has an issue with taking good advice from its own.
But they don't listen to the wise. See, the wise come from the east. You know, and they came with their poles, poling along and walking. The wise men, people with experience. If the government don't listen to them, we are doomed.
Well, opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis is blasting Prime Minister Perry Christie for his comments on that $2.1 billion Chinese agri-fisheries proposal. Minnis says despite the denial, it's hard to believe anything Christie has to say on the matter. Jasmine Brown tells us more.
Now he tells us that the land for Andros is a no-go. I don't trust him. I don't believe him. I know the Bahamians don't believe him. He has lost trust.
That was Dr. Minnis' response to Prime Minister Perry Christie, who said in the House of Assembly on Monday that the proposal would be a no-go if it came before Cabinet. The Prime Minister's comments came after a fiery exchange in the House of Assembly on Monday over the controversial proposal for a $2.1 billion China-Bahamas agri-fisheries project in Andros. Christie also accused the FNM of playing on the emotions of Bahamians, a claim Minnis denied.
We're not exploiting the emotion. The Bahamian people have applied for land themselves. They can't get land but yet you want to negotiate 10,000 acres of land? That's not emotional. That's real. We talking real talk.
Earlier this month, Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources V. Alfred Gray confirmed that he gave Bahamas Ambassador to China, Paul Andy Gomez, approval to pursue the proposal in October. At the time, Gray called it a progressive initiative.
You must remember that V. Alfred Gray, sometime in March, April, I posed the question in Parliament to V. Alfred Gray that I understand that the government is either selling or leasing 10,000 acres of land to the Chinese. V. Alfred Gray stood up on his feet and said the government is not selling any land. We are still in discussion or negotiation. That was March or April, which meant that this is an ongoing process, and now that they were caught red-handed, the Prime Minister, who has a track record of doing the exact opposite of what he say, or, of having an aversion for the truth, the same Prime Minister now wants us to believe that what he's saying today is the truth versus what he said yesterday.
The proposal, which Gray wanted the ambassador to pursue further, calls for the incorporation of 100 companies to be owned 50-50 by Bahamians and Chinese, which would involve fishing in Bahamian waters and farming in Andros. Minnis says while this was a huge mistake for the Christie administration, it's hard to say if this was one of their biggest blunders.
It's so difficult to say what is the biggest blunder of the Christie administration. When you have so many, it's very difficult to say what is the biggest blunder. All I can say is this is another blunder.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, in other news, a pilot is lucky to be alive today after a crash landing. It happened yesterday in a lake in western New Providence. At the moment, there still isn't any detail as to why the man was forced to land the plane in the golf course, but you can see in this footage the plane floating in the lake. The man was taken to hospital where he was treated for minor injuries and discharged. Police and civil aviation authorities are investigating the circumstances surrounding the incident. Meanwhile, police in Grand Bahama need your help in solving the country's latest murder. Just after 3 this morning, police received reports of gunshots in the parking lot of a business establishment near the International Bazaar. Upon arrival, officers discovered the body of a man lying on the ground. He had reportedly been shot. Police on Grand Bahama have no suspects in custody and are said to be actively investigating the matter. Well, hundreds descended on Clifford Park last night as the country's newest mobile service provider put on a free all-Bahamian concert. The young and the old received gift bags and SIM cards as they came out in support of the new company, which opened stores throughout New Providence last week. Take a look at how it went.
Rhythm is gonna get you. 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 Tonight. Watch it out.
When our news returns, the Bahamas' digital economy is said to be lagging behind, and more doctors leaving the country. Stay with us.